Hello! Welcome to Introduction to Development. Today, we will begin the course with examining various theories which have developed mostly in the second half of the 20th century by theorists who aspire to understand how does development take place. Let's begin by asking a few academics and practitioners from the field what does development mean in their eyes.
Development is the transformation of society and individuals from stage A to stage B. Now, the question what this transformation implies is crucial and very important. For many people, especially in the developed world, this transformation implies making you just like us, because we are the model. For others, it's more complicated and complex. It's transforming you from stage A to stage B, where you feel better about yourselves. And that is to say, not necessarily that you become like us, but that you remain who you are and what you are, only you have the capacities, the capabilities, the autonomy to actually fulfill the way that you want to live.
Development, to me, is progressing from one level to another. And in the work I've done, it's concentrating on that individual in the community.
Development is a process of changing from one stage to another, where you move away from a stage, like you say, a take-off stage, you go to another level of development. People develop physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Development is moral responsibility of those who have towards those who don't have. It is also a responsibility of a country, a state, which has neighbors, and it's a part of the global community. And inequality in the global world is dangerous. And we have to do our best to make sure that we have as less inequality as possible, because it brings then more peace and prosperity and stabilizes the world and takes away tensions. When a country does development, it also affects internally its own society. This is what studies show us. So it also brings benefit to our own people, society, and economy. End of the day, development is part of foreign policy, and it represents interests of different countries. The effort of development is to really, as I said before, bring better life and standards of living and health services and food security and education to people, to human beings in developing countries.
To define development, I was trained as an economist where development is treated as synonymous with economic growth. And economic growth is a quantitative increase in the things we consume, which also entails a quantitative increase, if we believe the economy is a physical system, a quantitative increase in the raw materials we extract from nature and the waste we return to nature. In my view, is a qualitative improvement in the qualitative in the things people need to have a more meaningful, fulfilling, and satisfying life. And this qualitative improvement has to pay very, very close attention to the full range of resources we have.
Development is the appraisal of social, economic, political status of an individual, and on the larger side, a nation, to be better in fields that help to live a better life and to be happy and feel that they have acquired their abilities.
פיתוח בעיניי זה ניצול משאבים קיימים בתוך קהילה מסוימת או חברה כלשהי, וניצול המשאבים האלה לפיתוח הקהילה עצמה, אם זה פיתוח כלכלי, פיתוח חברתי, וכל משאב אחר שיכול לענות על הדבר הזה.
From my perspective, development is all about having the opportunities to improve your well-being
It's about having access to information, having access to education, having access to basic services, and again, having the opportunities to improve your life, making a positive change in your life, in your children's life, and in your community life.
As we can hear, the concept of development has many faces. Moreover, development studies advances in parallel in conjunction with development practice, and the understanding of development is affected by waves in academic thinking, research finding, availability of data, the impact of development practice in the field, and world events. According to the Cambridge Dictionary definition, development is the process in which someone or something grows or changes and become more advanced. This is quite a wide definition, which focuses on the process on one hand and the advancement on the other. Interestingly, under development aid, we can see in the same dictionary the definition of money that rich countries give to poorer ones to help them develop, meaning increase their industry and economic activity and get richer. This definition portrays two interesting things. First, the relationship between the developed and the developing countries, which is based on how much money a country has. A rich country provides financial support or money to the poor one. This is in itself a very narrow definition of aid, but we will save the discussion about this for a different time. Second, the definition states here that development in the country's perspective mean to increase their industry and economic activity and get richer. As we will see today, and in the rest of the course, this is the very traditional view of development. Development as becoming richer and more advanced industrial-wise. A more complex understanding of development examines issues such as quality of life, impact on the environment and the future generations, and not only having more money. We will discuss these views today and begin with the more traditional modernization and industrialization perspective. Before we continue, I would like to take a moment and examine the use of the distinction between developing countries and developed countries. This distinction is used around the world, both by academics and development agencies and practitioners. Even though, to a large degree, this is a false division. We know that many nations with more technologically advanced economies and higher scores of quality of life experience periods of recessions, with instances of severe poverty or high rates of inequality. Additionally, this term suggests all countries in the world should develop in similar route, and that developing countries should reach the developed ones. As we will discuss in this class, this notion is also contested. And so, why do I choose to use this term? Mostly because I believe it is not worse than others, such as the First World, the Third World, or the Global North and the Global South. It seems to me that there is no right term, and I'd be happy to discuss this with you in class. Much of the discussion and the analysis of development began in the 1950s, with greater availability of data and the exploration of what causes economic growth. Development was seen as a process towards achieving this economic growth and becoming richer. The main question under the debate was, how does this growth take place? Who is responsible to promote it? Charles Gore explained this in a paper from 2000. This period between the 1950s and the 1970s was a time in which analysis and relevant policy recommendations were done from a historical perspective, examined what worked in history, anticipating what would work in the future. As we will discuss, this historical view changed in the late 70s with more performance-based approaches which tended to ignore history. The main debate of the engines of growth focuses on the question of the role of the state versus the role of the market. Should development be expected to take place by market forces Or should the government be responsible to ensure people's well-being? The next session will explore the basis for development theories which sees market forces as the most efficient driver of the development process.